Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Harriet Gould, President of the Raymond Central Board of Education, and I have with me this afternoon Mrs. Lynn Johnson, our new superintendent at Raymond Central. Our purpose today is to ask Mrs. Johnson some questions and to give our patrons and community an introduction to Mrs. Johnson. So welcome, we're glad you're here. And so I'm going to start with our first question for our fireside chat. Mrs. Johnson, could you tell us about who you are, tell us about your family, where you grew up, and where you went to school? Certainly. Are there any funny stories?
Well, maybe none I want to tell, but certainly. And Dr. Gould, thank you for this opportunity. I've been in the district a few months, and so it's kind of difficult to meet people. So hopefully this will be one of my ways to connect with our patrons. So thank you for this opportunity. But a little bit about myself. So I'm married, obviously. My husband is Steve Johnson. Steve and I have been married for 36 years now, and we've raised a family of 3 children. Our oldest son is Jordan, and he's in construction management, and he lives in right outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. And then our middle son, Taylor, and his wife, Emily, have our 2 grandbabies, Camden and Declan, which are, Camden's almost 3 and Declan's 1, and they live in Bennington, Nebraska. And then our youngest daughter, which is Riley, she's 27, and she lives in Gretna. And the 2 youngest, both Emily and Taylor and Emily and Riley are all in the medical profession. Taylor and Emily are nurses, and then Riley is an occupational therapist. And then our oldest son, I think I said Jordan, is construction management. So that's kind of our immediate family. I grew up in Wood River, Nebraska, famous now because of Scott Frost, but obviously I was there long before Scott Frost. And I was second oldest in a family of 8 children. My dad was a farmer and had a myriad of jobs, and then eventually sold the farm and was a postmaster. And mom was a homemaker, and late in life she went back and got her nursing degree. So when you talk about funny stories, some of them are just too embarrassing to tell. But when you are, and we still laugh about it, my siblings and I. But when you're in a family of 8, and those were kind of some difficult times. Some of our fondest memories are our battles for places to sit, for who got to ride shotgun, and then dibs on who got what piece of chicken at Sunday dinner. So, those were good memories growing up, and my mom and dad instilled in all of us just a strong work ethic and family values, and keeping family at the foremost of our intentions.
Very good, thank you. Why did you want to become a teacher? Was there a special person that encouraged you to become an educator? Yeah, sometimes that happens.
Yeah, that does sometimes happen. Although for me it was kind of an evolution more than just an aha moment. But honestly, when I went into college, and my first 2 years was at a community college, I was undecided. It was between education and law. And honestly, the reason education was one of my 2 choices is, as others have been, I was influenced by a teacher I had, and that was my algebra teacher, Mr. Schmidt. And I ended up becoming a math teacher because of that, and I had an affinity for math, but Mr. Schmidt, who was also the boys basketball coach, and he was really revered, and I just, as I was growing up, just saw the way that he influenced people, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom, and even in the larger community. Just a very influential person. And I thought to myself, I want to make a difference too, and in people's lives. And so that's when education came to my mind. And that's the track I went, because then I thought 4 more years of college, I don't want to do that law stuff. So ended up early on then committing to education.
Please share your career path with us.
Sure. Well, as I alluded to, I started at McCook Junior College and went to McCook really on a volleyball scholarship. As a second oldest of 8, finances was a critical determinant in our course of action as far as college was concerned. So started at McCook Junior College and really enjoyed my 2 years there. And after McCook, I transferred to Fort Hays State University. I think it was Fort Hays State College at the time, and again on scholarship, volleyball scholarship, and I knew they had a good math program as well. So graduated with my undergrad from Fort Hays State University, and then started the job seeking back in the Nebraska side, and ended up, my first teaching job was in Arlington, Nebraska. That was in 1983. And I was a math teacher, obviously high school math teacher, and assistant basketball coach, assistant volleyball coach, and then within a year I was a head volleyball coach. And so I've done some coaching. Eventually at Arlington, then I was also the assistant athletic director. That was the beginning of my interest in administration, and then I went on and took my first administrative job was the assistant principalship at Elkhorn. And of course that was in the day when there was only one high school. That was, quite a long time ago. Although it was a high school of about 900, there was just one high school at that time. So I had my first real administrative opportunity then at Elkhorn High School, and stayed there for 5 years, and then returned to Arlington. And by this time we have three little kids. So returning to Arlington and living just a couple blocks from the school building, and I became the high school principal at that time. And I was a high school principal at Arlington for 11 years, I think, Dr. Gould, and then had an opportunity to become the superintendent of Arlington, and did that for about 10 years. And then I decided in 2019, you know what, it might be time to look at something a little bit different. And so I did retire, and then I got back into it not soon after. I got a little nervous. I thought, okay, what am I going to do with all my time? So I took an interim superintendent position at Harlan, Iowa, which was quite a learning opportunity to jump states, but a great experience. And then, and now after that, I ended up here in Raymond Central.
Well, that leads us right into the next question.
Okay.
So what interested you in the superintendency at Raymond Central, and then after that, talk to us about your leadership style.
Yeah, okay, loaded questions there. Well, you know what, when I retired in 2019, I really knew I wasn't going to be done. I couldn't just be cold turkey done. And so I thought the internships looked like interim superintendencies looked like a nice possibility for me, and it worked out well at Harlan. So when I came to Raymond Central, it was on an interim basis. And what attracted me to Raymond Central, all those years in the Capitol Conference, I knew who you were, and I had a high regard for Raymond Central. Liked the size of this school district. I enjoyed my years at Arlington. I like this size. You get to know the kids, the parents, the community members, and so that was my initial attraction. And the reason why I looked and applied here at Raymond Central, and certainly everything that I thought about it has proven to be true. Yeah.
So talk to us about your leadership style.
Okay, good questions. I think I would describe my leadership style as being more of a participative leadership style. I like to involve others in the decision-making process, although, I know at the end of the day, the decisions rest with me, but I would like a more collaborative approach. And I've really tried, I hope successfully, but I try to be transformative in the way that I lead, in enabling individuals to kind of reach their goals as we move toward the organizational goals. So I'm more participatory and collaborative type of a leadership.
For 6 months now, what has been your biggest aha?
There's been a lot of ahas, little ahas along the way, but honestly, and I don't know if this is an aha because I expect, but it probably is stronger than maybe even I suspected or expected, and that is, I think the sense of commitment and pride that it exhibits itself in the Raymond Central and Mustang communities. The commitment by our staff is just really second to none. They are very committed to the students, to their responsibilities, but you see that same thing resounding in just really all the variety of patrons that I've met with, and our foundation board, our teammates programs, our PTO programs, our Board of Education. I'm not saying that just to butter you up, but really, from top to bottom, just everybody that I've come into contact with have a strong sense of pride in what we're about. And that's been a great aha moment for me. And the people are so friendly. I just love the people I work with and get to spend my day with. And at the end of the day, it really is about those relationships and enjoying what you're doing. So yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So what are the greatest things that have happened during your short tenure with the district?
Yeah, well, I alluded a little bit to, so one of the greatest things in my mind is just the opportunity to build relationships. And when I came on board, and I remember when I interviewed with you, Dr. Gould, one of the things we talked about, at that time we were talking about an interim position, and I guess whether it's interim or full-time, building relationships is the first task that anybody would have come into a new organization, and so that was uppermost in my mind. But on top of that, there's so many great things already in the works and happening here at Raymond Central. And one of my tasks, I believe, is to, as I'm building these relationships and getting to know more about the district and the people, it was just kind of keep the balls rolling that were already rolling. And so I feel like we have done that successfully. We've continued to move forward with the teacher evaluation model and a team of administrators and myself. We finalized that this summer and when it was able to put that in place with the teachers, and so we continue to work on that and hone those skills, teacher skills, through that model. And then we have that grant initiative going on to increase our ability to get STEM education to our students and utilization of resources that are STEM based. And so I think we've really made some great progress, and by we I really mean the 16 innovators that are working on that grant and their leaders, but I'm going to say we vicariously, and great progress in terms of where we're moving with that grant and how it's impacting the instruction that's happening in our classrooms and the opportunities that students are receiving as a result of that grant and curriculum materials that are coming our way. So those are two big ones that I could point to, that I would like to point to and share. So those are, now the other thing that I would be remiss in, the district has really impressively worked on a futuristic vision, and through the document of the Vision 2025 that happened well before I got here, and then the establishment of this strategic plan, that's taken us into, at the board level, work on, okay, what's our future look like? How do we want to organize ourselves? What will our facilities look like? So that is another initiative that we continue to move forward with. And in the next month or so, we'll have a patron committee group come together and start having those discussions with the Board of Education. So got a lot going on.
Yeah, a lot of balls in the air. Got to keep them all up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these have been kind of difficult times. So faced with many unique problems that have hit education, not only at Raymond Central, but statewide in the last 3 years, we've been dealing with COVID, masks, health standards, CRT, all of these things. So personally, what do you do to keep sane?
Well, sometimes I question whether I am sane, but and some of my colleagues might question the same thing. But that's a good question, Dr. Gould. And honestly, I do like to be outdoors. Of course, some of this cold weather right now is not conducive to that, but I like to be outdoors, like to exercise. I do try to exercise at least 5 times a week to just, and typically when I'm exercising, my exercise is like a slow walk, but it's moving. And we'll oftentimes have headsets on, listen to a book on tape. That's my form of relaxation. Every night I either read or try to watch some comedy, some series on Netflix or something that's lighthearted and easy to follow. That's kind of my niche.
Personal wellness is important.
It is.
Got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it is. And I married a PE teacher, a recovering PE teacher, retired, recovering, whatever. And so that's kind of in his niche too. So yeah, it kind of on the same path there.
So most of us have a favorite food, maybe a movie. What are some of your personal likes?
Well, I tell you, there's not many foods that aren't my favorite. But if I had to pick a favorite, it's going to be pizza. Any kind of pizza is my go-to. So Italian in general, but pizza specifically, yeah. And favorite movie, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay, hands down, Pretty Woman. I love Pretty Women. Richard Gere, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Been to any concerts lately?
You know what? I haven't been to as many concerts as I'd like to. My friend, it's been a while ago. I don't even know how many years ago. When was Michael Bublé here in Lincoln?
Yeah.
We went to that one, and I don't know if I've been to any since, to be honest with
Josh Groban is a favorite of mine.
But love Josh Groban.
Yeah.
Not been to one of his concerts, but I'd like to be.
I saw him twice in Omaha.
You're lucky.
Was lucky, yeah.
Yeah.
One time was free tickets from a TV station.
Okay, that is really lucky.
I was really pretty lucky. So,
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Johnson, is there anything else that you'd like to tell our audience today?
The one thing I would like our audience to know is just that I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be part of the Mustang family, a family that I think takes great pride in what we're about. And, life is too short not to be engaged in something that's worthwhile. And what we have going on here at Raymond Central, it's definitely worthwhile. And I'm just excited to be a part of the team.
Well, our focus is students and learning. That's what we're about. And we're thankful to have you as our leader, not only this year, but the board did recommend you as our permanent superintendent. And so we're excited to be able to have you here for a couple more years. I think that the opportunities and the potential under your leadership are sky's the limit. So thanks for your time today.
Hey,
and we
thank
ask
you.
our audience to share this. We'd like Mrs. Johnson to get known throughout our community. So please share this link with not only fellow school people, but neighbors and other people that live in the community that would like to get to know Mrs. Johnson. So thanks today.
Thanks. And my door's open. Call me. Come
Yep.
see me. Thanks.
Important. Give her a call. She's available.
Yes, I am. Thank you.